What brought you to, writing a book, number one?
I had gone through my professional sales career and sales leadership career and just had seen what worked for me, what worked for the people that I coached that were in this group of, not the superstars who just come in and they know what to do and they don't need much guidance. They just need coaching and support. But the ones who they're underperforming and, with the right tools and uh, coaching and leadership and momentum, then they can become great. They can produce great, consistent results out of nothing, right? Those people who are coming from various backgrounds. And so I just had this in me where I was like, I just want to get this out. I want to write this book. Not sure what for in the beginning. I just want to write this and have this as a tool and something that could help other people. And that whole journey took 2 years until it was finally done. And yeah, I mean, it's there to help those people that were in similar paths like myself, where you're just not sure how do you succeed in sales without, let's say crossing the line or going to the dark side.
And so the word authentic, to me, it's similar to empathetic in that I have this debate, or I've been certainly bringing it up in the podcast for years, which is, can you teach someone to be authentic? Can you teach somebody to be empathetic?
I think you can definitely teach someone to be authentic. And the way that you teach someone to be authentic is that you help them realize that it's safe, right? To me, authenticity is being who you are and in alignment with who you are and doing and saying the things that fit with that. Right. And, understanding your fears and then addressing those, because we all have them, that primal part of our brain that wants to keep us safe. Why do you want to be successful? What would you put on that vision board? And living that part. And really what it comes down to is just feeling like it's okay. You're not going to be kicked out of the tribe of humans if you're authentic, and maybe some people don't necessarily like it, but you're just you. Then there's the empathetic piece, and I think that is something that somebody can learn. I truly believe that, and I talk about it in the book, because for me, I don't feel like I was that way. I mean, I think I was empathetic, but I was pretty much anti-people for a long time. Like, I didn't want to be in a career dealing with people, thus the marine biology and tagging sharks, and I kind of resisted dealing with people. And so I learned a bunch of those traits that people attribute to being successful in sales and persuasion. And I think you can teach empathy. I think really the best teacher of empathy is going through some difficult things yourself and realizing other people are going through it and you want to help them.
Yeah, and I had a guest on that. His whole thing was, you don't need to be an empathetic person to be a great salesperson. You just need to understand what your prospect or customer's point of view. You have to be respectful of their point of view, but you don't have to be empathetic. So it was an interesting kind of take. It almost landed in the same place, right? Like, so if you understand the customer's pains or what they're going through and the challenges they have, and you acknowledge that is being part of that is being empathetic, correct?
Yeah, and I think somewhere in there, if you dive deep enough, it's what's the definition, what's the intent, and then what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
For me, the empathy is I understand what you're going through, and I want you to get to a better place. Right? Sympathy, when you look at that word, is I see that you're in a bad place, and I'm going to stand there right with you, and we're both going to stand in this terrible place together. Right? Instead of like empathy, which is I see that and I want something better for you and I want to help you get there with or without me. And based on what your other guest said, it sounds similar. And then really it's about the outcome. Is the outcome also, okay, I see that and I want to help you and let's move forward for your benefit? Or is it, I understand you're going through tough stuff, or I understand you have a challenge, I'm going to fix it. I don't really care about you because I want to get paid. And so like, it's just a tool. Right. And some people do that. Like I've seen so many times where a salesperson is on the phone, they're acting like they care. They're they're showing all the signs that they literally care about that person they're talking to, and they want to solve their problem. They hang up the phone, and then the stuff that comes out of their mouth about that person is just so negative and terrible. Like, why are they so dumb? And people are so, like, all these terrible, it's like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
what's the real you?
Yeah. So that brings me back to the book, Selling with Authentic Persuasion. Kind of walk us through, high level. What does that mean, and what can people take away from that?
The biggest part, the first part, is that authentic piece. I mean, I think there's a lot of good ways to sell, and strategies and tactics, and even closing lines and all these things you can do. None of it matters unless you know about yourself and you're self-aware. If you don't understand your own fears and what's holding you back, if you don't understand the way that you sell is probably, if you're not careful, the way that you like to buy. And so you think it's only fair to
Mm.
treat others like you like to be treated. So you try to sell that same way, and that doesn't work at scale. And so you've got to get those things under control, and then also know what your motivation is. And then the persuasion piece is really about modeling your sales process after other professionals. Like I mentioned doctors earlier, and I use that analogy a lot, is to be able to take somebody through a process where you're the professional who's helping them, and you're building rapport, you're showing empathy, you're asking questions, you're discovering at the deepest level what it is that they want or need, and then you are helping them get there with the stance that you're the professional and they need your help, versus asking for the sale, asking for permission. I mean, you got to get permission to close, but asking for it is something different. For example, you have a broken arm and you go to the emergency room. This is what poor salespeople do, or ineffective salespeople do. If they were the doctor, they would say, I did x-rays, your arm is broken, here's my card, here's a brochure, I'll send you an email follow up, and let's chat next week, and let me know if you have any questions. Right. And that just isn't what would happen. A doctor would say, your arm is broken, I'm going to take care of it, do you have any questions before we begin? Hold on, this is going to hurt, but I
Yeah.
promise you'll get better. And then they just do it.